How's everybody doing today? I certainly hope you're doing well. You know what it's time for? It's time for another edition of Story Time. And to be quite honest, we've had this all ready to go for the last couple of weeks, but we got so rudely interrupted by what was going on in Oregon there. But I decided to go ahead and burp this one out. And as usual, I like to let people know whether or not it's a true story. It is not a true story. It is a story in which I've created, okay? It's all original. And this one here took a couple of weeks to make sure every gap was filled. And the name of this story is called Leaves Turn Brown. Now, a lot of guys might not like this story because this is a story that has been created specifically for the ladies. Because we know how much the ladies love romance. And, you know, there's another quote that I like to sport, and that is, romance cannot be bought. Either you have it or you don't. There's no in between. So let's go ahead and start. There was a young man by the name of Michael. He was 27 years of age, and he lived in the state of Nebraska. Now, you see, in the state of Nebraska, you know, there's not much out there, and there's a lot of, you know, farms, and there's a lot of cattle, and there's a lot of, you know, tumbleweeds and that sort of thing. But it doesn't mean, certainly, that your family cannot be affluent, in which his family was. You see, Michael was the only child. And seeing that he was the only child, well, you know, his family, or his mother and his father and his aunts and uncles and all that stuff were very influential on his life. But you know what? He decided that he was going to grow up for once. And he decided that he was going to have his own home and purchase his own home with his own money, because after all, he worked for his own money. Even though he was working for the family and the family business, because you see, the family business dealt specifically in real estate. And that real estate corporation had its own stock and the whole 9 yards. So they're a pretty big outfit. And they were building houses left and right and track homes and the whole 9 yards. See, Michael went to school there, and he ended up getting a bachelor's degree in design. And before you knew it, he was working CAD, and he was just doing his own thing. So he purchased a home, and I tell you what, this home was huge. Let me tell you, it was about like 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a basement, 2 stories, 4-car garage. I mean, it was all that. But you see, Michael was just by himself, so why does he need all that space? I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, isn't it? So, it's not that Michael wasn't dating, because he certainly was a scrapping young man at 27 years of age. Of course he was dating and such, but there was only 2 women that he was even somewhat serious about. You see, one woman, her name was Gwen. She was blonde hair, blue eyes. She's beautiful too. I tell you what, if beauty were a mountain, she'd be Everest. Okay? That's how beautiful this woman was. You can't get any higher than that. Alright? And they'd been going out for years. Now you see, Michael also had another woman that he fancied, and her name was Sarah. And Sarah was more of an introvert, whereas Gwen, she was more of an extrovert. She was really bubbly, and, you know, she got along really well with Michael's family. But you see, Sarah, she was kind of shy, you know. She wasn't really the bubbly type. So you see, one night, over a couple of glasses of Grand Marnier, and maybe some Chateaubriand steak, Michael's father approached him and said, "You know, son, it's about time that you get married and have a couple of kids, because in business, people are only going to take you seriously if you have something to lose. People are only going to take you seriously if you have not only something to lose, but if you're married and you have kids and the white picket fence, the home, the whole 9 yards. Because people in business see that as stability. They don't want to be doing business with somebody who's single and, gung-ho this and gung-ho that and party here and party there. No, they want to do business with somebody who is single. Seeing how your mother and I, we don't want to run this business for the rest of our lives, and seeing how you're the only child, we really think it's in your best interest and the company's best interest that you get married and have a couple of kids. So try to work on that, son, will you? Michael was kind of taken back by that. I tell you what, he was like thinking, well, damn, maybe they're right. Because again, Michael's folks were extremely influential over his entire life. They always had been. So you see, Michael had this big-ass house, and in the backyard there, he had 2 huge oak trees. Oh, yeah, he did. I tell you what, he had to swing on one of them oak trees, because when he'd invite those ladies over to his house, he'd get them in the hot tub and have a couple of drinks, and he'd just swing them on that swing the next day, maybe after making them breakfast. Because ladies like that. They sure do. They like to have fun. And fun does not equate to sex. See, a lot of guys get that all mixed up. They think fun means sex. It's like the code word for sex and shit. But you see, ladies want to have fun. Fun is on the highest of all priority because they want to laugh, because laughing makes them feel good. Sex is somewhere in the middle, right? They would rather have fun than have sex. That's a guaranteed fact. So you see, seeing that he was kind of involved with Gwen and Sarah, and his father just had a little chatty-do with him about how he needs to get serious. He needs to buckle down. He needs to get married. He needs to have a couple of kids. He needs to get serious and get with the program. He's got to make a decision. But seeing how Gwen gets along better with his folks, especially his mom, they're bubbly and carrying on and about, and there are all these different events and that. He really likes Sarah because he's known Sarah longer than he's known Gwen. But again, he needs to make a decision not only for himself, but a decision that will make his folks happy, and potentially in the future, on a business aspect, who is the better candidate for a spouse? That would be Gwen. So he kind of breaks the news to Gwen. He says, you know something, Gwen? This is not a proposal for you to get married with me, of course not. But I'd like you to move into my house. I'd like you to drop your life and move out of your apartment and move into my house. Because I'm really serious about you. And of course, I don't want to marry somebody unless I really know all about them. Because as all of you men and all of you women know, the only way to really get to know someone truly is to live with them. They cannot hide who they really are when you're living with them. It just, no, it's impossible. But you see, Michael's in a dilemma because now he needs to break the news also to Sarah that he is in a serious, committed relationship with Gwen. And he knows that's going to hurt her. He just knows it. So, about a week later, Gwen moves all her things in. She's just as happy as can be. She's hugging and kissing on Michael because she's thinking, you know what, ching ching. Oh boy, this is it. All I got to do is behave myself for 6 months, maybe even a year. And I'm going to be married to this man that's got just lots of money. Okay? And he's going to be set for life. Consequently, Gwen believed that she was going to be set for life. So, how long can she play this game? That's what she's thinking. So, about 2.5 weeks go by and Michael's feeling a little bit guilty. He's thinking to himself, you know something, I really need to break the news to Sarah here so that way she doesn't, look forward to us going out to the movies and the park and carrying on and about, and having some sort of even remote thought that she's going to be the one moving in. So he calls up Sarah up on the phone. He says, Sarah, he goes, listen, I really don't want to hurt your feelings, and I'd rather say this to you in person, but seeing how I have you on the phone anyway, I'd like to just tell you that, me and Gwen, we're an item now, and I'm just going to have to cut you loose, and we can be friends, and if you ever need me, or if you ever need anything from me, I've known you a very long time. Hell, I've known you longer than I've known Gwen over there. And just rest assured, you can always call me in the case you need my assistance with something, or if you have a problem or you need to talk, or maybe you need a friend. I just want to let you know that. Sarah is blown away, buddy. She's just a sobbing and a crying. I mean, it's a horrible mess. I don't know about you fellas, but when I see them damn ladies crying and carrying on, it's like putty in the hand. I mean, I hate it. I just can't stand it, truly, in real life. So Sarah, she's just all broken up. I tell you what, she is too. But you know what? That's life, because life is not always a big old bed of roses. Sometimes a man needs to make a decision, and he needs to make the right decision not only for him, his family, his business, whatever it is, he needs to do it. He can't be pussyfooting around, but I'm not really sure. Be a man, make a decision. So that's what he did. And Sarah is just all broken up. She can hardly even talk. So she abruptly hangs up the phone. And of course, Michael doesn't feel so good about himself because he let down someone who he has known longer than Gwen. He gets over it. Within a couple of minutes, he's over with it. Next thing you know, Gwen and Michael, they're going out to lunch. They're doing their own thing, right? So, Michael's father calls a meeting with his son, Michael, right? So Michael goes into his father's office, and he says, Michael, I want you to have a seat. He goes, Michael, I just wanted to tell you, you know what? You're doing such a great job. And all the builders are extremely happy with all your designs and such. We are going to give you a bonus, an $80,000 cash bonus. Michael's kind of blown away. He knows damn good and skippy that this isn't his dad's being a nice guy and just giving an 80G. Because his father is the kind of guy that you got to earn your keep, buddy. He ain't just going to give it to you. You got to earn it. He knows that about his dad. So he was blown away. He was thinking, oh my goodness, this is a good thing, right? So his father gives him 80 grand. It's not cash, it's a check, but it might as well be. All he's got to do is go down to the bank and cash it. It's good to go, right? You see, Michael's sad because all these years he's been saving money. Hell, he's got well over $100,000 in the bank in the first place. So, But still, an $80,000 bonus above and beyond the money that he already has in the bank, yeah, that's a big deal. So, Gwen herself, she's working at a job dealing with real estate. She's like a receptionist or something of the nature. So, she has a regular 8 to 5 type of job. And his father also mentions to him, son, not only are we going to give you $80,000, but from today until next week, you're off. A whole week you get off, paid. It's Tuesday. So he's got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. He doesn't have to go back to work until Monday. Because that is included in his $80,000 bonus. All those other days off paid. Oh boy, I tell you what, he's just tickled pink, I tell you. He goes to the bank and he signs over that check, and of course, they got to wait about 10 days before they cash that, but he knows it's going to clear because he works for the company. Hell, his folks own it. It ain't gonna bounce. So Michael decides, you know something? I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna buy myself a brand new car. Sure am. That's what I'm gonna do. Because I deserve to get a brand new car. Because I deserved that big bonus. And I'm going to treat myself to a brand new car. That's what he did too. He got his happy ass down to the car lot there. He didn't have to do a test drive or nothing. He just picked it out. He said, I want that one right there. What was it? It was a 2012 Dodge Charger. Sure was. Boy, I tell you what, it's a good time too. And it was a dark navy blue. It almost looked black, but it wasn't black. It was like dark navy blue. So he's just as happy as could be, and they check his credit. You know all the bullshit that goes with it, right? He pulls out of the lot there, and he's driving home. He's hitting it, right? He turns on the radio because it got a kick-ass stereo system, right? And what is playing on there? Yeah, it's playing some good music, and he's turning all the stations, making sure they all work. Country, and then the talk radio, and then rock and roll, and then alternative, and he's just playing around with the radio, and all of a sudden, the radio starts crackling. And all the channels start, like they're changing on all the stations. Like, you know how it goes, right? And it stops in it, and he hears this song he's never heard before. And the song is singing, if she really loves me, she won't have to make a sound. I'll know the answer when the leaves turn brown. He's like, what the hell is this? He's turning the other stations, and it's not working. You think, man, that was just the craziest thing I ever heard in all my life. So he's plowing home, boy, and he comes to the railroad, and ding, 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 ding. Here comes the gates, right? He looks off to his left. There's nobody there. He looks off to his right, and there is a woman in her car, and the window's cracked about like that, and he can hear that she's playing the radio. So he says, excuse me, ma'am. She rolls down the window. He goes, how are your channels over? 93.3. Can you pull up 93.3? She goes, well, I'm playing a CD right now. He goes, can you check your radio? Because there's something wrong with my radio. I don't know what's going on here. So she tunes into 93.3. Oh, it's playing regular music. She's not affected by it. He's like, well, thank you. Train goes on by, and the gates pull up, and he plows through. He's trying to turn on his radio, and it's all static. He's kind of like freaked out about this, man, because he didn't really catch what it said. He figured he's going to go home. He's going to turn on his regular radio, his stereo in his house, because he wants to see what the hell's going on. But you know what he's going to do? He's going to come prepared. He's got out of his cell phone. He's going to record this. Because if this happens again, he wants to get it on record, and he wants to write down exactly what the lyric was in case it pops up again, right? He turns on the stereo. U2's on, right? He's listening to all of a sudden, here we go again. The radio starts a crackling. It starts skipping all the little channels. He's recording this right now. He's getting it all on record. And then suddenly, he hears again this lyric, if she really loves me, she won't have to make a sound. I'll know the answer when the leaves turn brown. He's like, I got it now, right? And then it goes to static again. Well, he knows damn good and well that it's only happening to him. Because he heard the woman when he was at the train stop there, and 93.3 was playing just fine. So something's going on. So he gets his phone, he plays, hits a rewind there, and he's got a little pen and paper, and he's writing this. Is she really, is she writing it all down? So he reads this off the piece of paper, and he's like, okay, now hold on a second. If she really loves me, She won't have to make a sound. I'll know the answer when the leaves turn brown. What does that mean? It's really starting to bother him. If she really loves me, she won't have to make a sound. I'll know the answer when the leaves turn brown. He gets an idea. Well, hold on a second. Wait a minute. Could this be an omen? Could this be an omen telling me maybe Gwen really doesn't love me? But how am I going to find out? He's got them oak trees in the back there. He sure does. Oh, yeah. So he gets an idea. What's he going to do? When Gwen's laying down in the bed, you know what he's going to do? He's going to take 2 of those oak leaves that are as green can be. And he's going to lay those 2 oak leaves in her hand when she's sleeping. Because he's theorizing that the lyric that he's hearing only on his radio, no one else's radio, if she really loves me, she won't have to make a sound. I'll know the answer when the leaves turn brown. So if those leaves turn brown in her hand, Gwen doesn't love him. And what the hell would he be with her in the first place for? Right? Oh yeah, that's what he does too. He goes on side of house, he gets an extension ladder, he rings it up there. He's kind of scared of heights too. He goes up there, he's going up the ladder because he can't reach, right? And he's leaning over and he grabs 2 of those leaves and he pulls them off, right? These leaves are huge too. They're just as green as can be. He races off into the kitchen. He pulls off a piece of the tin foil there. He punches little holes in it with a toothpick. You got to have circulation in there. He puts those leaves in and cups it over. Then he takes out the bottom drawer in the refrigerator on the right-hand side, and he places that piece of tin foil with holes in it, give it a little circulation, up underneath the drawer, and then puts the drawer back in place. So if Gwen comes home, and she were to happen to, pull out something out of the refrigerator, she ain't going to see it. Start asking questions. So about 6 o'clock, Gwen gets home and, oh, hey, honey, how you doing? And he instantly has this little thought in his brain like, I wonder if you love me. I'm going to find out, too. I'm going to find out tonight, but you don't know it. See, I got those leaves in the refrigerator that I pull out of the backyard, and if you really love me, you won't have to make a sound because I'll know the answer if the leaves turn brown. That's what he's thinking. She doesn't even have a clue either. Oh, yeah, boy. So, they have a little bit of supper. They have a little chatty-do, watch a little bit of TV. You know how they are, cuddling on the couch, and she's being all warmed up. She's about 6 weeks into it by now, right? So he's thinking, oh, you just go to sleep. You just go to sleep. But I got something for you, right? She's like, honey, come on to bed. It's about 10 o'clock, He ain't got to go to work because he's got the whole week off. She's got to go to work, but he doesn't. Oh, no, I will stay up, honey. I'll be there in a little bit, right? So about 2 hours into her deep sleep. Oh, she's in deep sleep, too. She's one of them kind of sleepers that if there was like a freight train in the bedroom, there's a tornado, there could even be a fire, she'd sleep right through it. You know what I mean? One of them kind of sleepers. So once she gets to sleep, she's just laying there and her hand is about like this, right? Just as relaxed as can be. And Michael goes over there and starts lifting up her fingers, make damn good and sure she's asleep. She's just as asleep as can be. He races over there to the refrigerator. He opens up the right-hand side of the refrigerator. He goes to the bottom shelf. He pulls out the drawer. He's got the tin foil there, a little bit of holes in it there for circulation. He undoes it. He's got the leaves. Oh, they're just as fresh as can be. They're just as green as can be. They're a little cool. He makes sure that he checks her fingers again, makes sure she's just dead asleep. She is too. And he takes those leaves, those green leaves, and he lays them in her hand. And he's sitting there just eyeballing them. Because he wants to see. He wants to see if that omen, if that lyric that he heard only on his radio, if it had any validity to it. He's just looking at it. And sure enough, within about 2 minutes, the edges of the leaves start curling up, boy. And the entire leaves, both of them, turn just as brown as can be. He's looking at her like, you bitch. You just want to be with me because of what I can provide to you. Because of the money that I have, the influence. You bitch. That's what he's thinking to himself, too. He pulls out those leaves out of her hand, and he grabs them and turned into dust. He's furious. Oh, he's furious! Because he knows that lyric that he heard was indeed an omen. For him to know the true colors of Gwen. But what's he going to do about it? Is he going to just kick her out because of some lyric that he heard on only his radios? On his car radio and his stereo in his house? Is he going to kick out Gwen just because of that? He's got to think about this. Because being a man, you just don't make rash decisions. You got to really ponder it, right? He's pissed off, too. I tell you what, he's mad. He's just a stewing. He climbs into bed with her, and he's just looking at her. She doesn't even know what's going on, because she's dead asleep, right? He turns the covers over. He's just thinking to himself, oh, this is outrageous. Then he just falls to sleep. Hell, Gwen gets up in the morning. The damn alarm's going off early in the morning. 6:30 in the morning. Hell, he's still asleep. She goes off to work. He wakes up alone. Because he didn't have to work. He got that big old bonus. He's off for days and days and days. He's thinking to himself. He's pacing. Oh, he's just mad as hell, too. He looks down on the floor. And he sees all those little bitty leaves that just turn to dust, right? Then he gets to thinking, now hold on a second here. I chose Gwen over Sarah. But why did I choose Gwen? Because Gwen was bubbly. She got along with my mom. She got along with my dad. I was trying to look at the future. Because Gwen is an extrovert, whereas Sarah is an introvert. Did I make the wrong decision? Is it possible that Sarah really loves me? I mean, really loves me. Not this bullshit facade that Gwen has been giving to me. But how am I going to find out? Because hell, I done told Sarah, I don't know, that me and Gwen were an item. Hell, I'll be lucky if she even talks to me. I'm going to have to figure it out. So that afternoon, Michael decided he's going to get up on the phone, call her up at work. She didn't answer because she wasn't there. She was sick for the day. Well, he was kind of concerned. He's talking to the reception lady. He's like, well, do you know when she's going to get better? Well, they don't know when she's going to get better. She's been sick a couple of days. He's kind of shaking his head. Shoot. He didn't know what to do. Hell, it's Wednesday now, right? Gwen gets home that day, and again, he's just steaming. Because he knows that she really doesn't love him because the leaves turn brown. See, that was the sign. I mean, heard it on the radio, and he saw it happen in real life. Then he got to thinking, well, hold on a second. A man doesn't make a decision on one incident. We need to do it again. Sure do. So he decided that tomorrow, which would be Thursday, he's going to climb up that tree again and get him 2 more leaves because he needs to see if it's right. So they have some supper, they watch a little TV, a little cuddle, They get into bed together that night and, have a little bit of pillow talk. She's off to sleep and he's just a stewing. He gets to think, well, hold on a second. Let's give her a benefit of the doubt. Chances are maybe he was just wrong. Maybe it was I don't know. Maybe it was dry that day. He's making up all these excuses. So he finally falls asleep, and well, hell, Gwen gets up 6:30 in the morning. She gets ready to go to work. Hell, Michael's still asleep. He's got all these days off. He gets up about 11 o'clock in the morning and gets a little bit of coffee there, and he gets thinking, you know what, I got to get those leaves. Sure do. He goes out in the backyard, he gets out that ladder and rings up the ladder. He's scared of heights, you know. He crawls up there and he reaches over and he grabs 2 more green leaves, races into the kitchen, gets some tinfoil out, pokes a little bunch of little holes in there. You know, circulation. He puts those leaves in there. Again, he goes on the right side of the refrigerator, the bottom drawer. He pulls it all the way out, puts the piece of tinfoil there with leaves in there, and then puts the drawer back in case Gwen ever saw that, right? Gwen gets home that night. Yeah. They have a little supper, watch a little TV. You know, the same old routine. She goes to sleep. He's thinking to himself, not myself, himself. He's thinking to himself, now hang on a second here. Do I really want to know if Gwen really loves me? I mean, she tells me she loves me all the time. But hell, she could be lying. And the only barometer that I have that's going to tell me whether or not it's true or not is these leaves. And if those leaves turn brown again, she doesn't love me. She's just playing me. And chances are, I wonder if Sarah loves me. That's what I want to know. But, hey, let's just wait until she goes to sleep. Gwen does go to sleep. She's knocked out, buddy. You know, once again, he's checking all her fingers, making sure she's just dead asleep. She is. He races in the kitchen. He pulls out the bottom drawer there, right? He gets out that piece of tinfoil and undoes it. He's got those 2 green leaves. They just smell just a green, right? Summer green. He gently goes into the bedroom, and her hand is about like this. Just once again, he lays those leaves into her hand. He's just a watching, boy. He's looking at her, looking at the leaves, looking at her, looking at the leaves. About 2 minutes go by, and the leaves start curling up, boy. They turning yellow and brown. Crispy brown, too. Crispy brown. He takes those leaves out of her hand, right to dust. This woman doesn't love me. That's twice. I got to kick her to the curb. But how embarrassing that's going to be. Because you see, my folks want me to get married. They want me to have a couple of kids, white picket fence, because of course nobody wants to do business with somebody who's single. That's a lot of pressure. He gets to thinking, well, damn. I wonder if Sarah loves me. I'm going to find out. He calls her back up and calls up at work, and she still ain't there. He's thinking, you know what? I'll just call her goofy ass at home. Sure will. Because I got to know. And I got to find out when she's going to be back to work. Because you see, Michael and Sarah met each other at the park close to her work. It's kind of a stretch from his house, but hey, whatever, right? He calls, nothing. He doesn't even leave a message. He's kind of pissed off, right? So Gwen gets home that night, right? They have a little chatty-do, carrying on and about. Tomorrow's Friday. He's got to get a hold of Sarah. He does. He's got to know for him. But, you know, she's been sick for several days now. He doesn't even know if she's going to be there tomorrow. He called her at home. She didn't answer the phone. Anyway, that same as usual. Gwen gets home, have a little supper, a little cuddling on the couch and such. Michael's just pissed off because he knows. He knows the deal. Because those leaves done turned brown. They sure did. She goes off to sleep, and he goes off to sleep, and he's having tossing and turning, carrying on. I got to get a hold of Sarah. That's what he's thinking. I got to get a hold of her. I got to lay those leaves in her hand, man. I need to see if she really loves me, because if she really loves me, I don't care if she's an introvert or not. That's the woman I need to be with. That's the one. So he's thinking, okay. He finally goes off to sleep, and by the time he wakes up, hell, Gwen's gone. First thing he does, as soon as he wakes up, he calls Sarah at work. She's there. She answers the phone. Hello? Michael's like, listen, Sarah, listen, please don't hang up on me. I need to talk to you. I know you're at work, but listen, will you please meet me for lunch? This is so important. Will you please meet me for lunch? Sarah's like, Michael, what are you talking about? You're with Gwen. You shouldn't be calling me. That's teetering on cheating. Don't be doing that. So Michael's got her on the phone. He's like, listen, Sarah, I need to meet with you. Remember that bench we met at the park near your work? You remember which one? She's like, well, of course I remember which one. It was a long time ago, but of course I remember. He's like, listen, I need you to meet me there. Will you meet me there? She's like, okay. So he says, please don't be late, baby. Please don't be late. So she's like, okay, no problem. So he's sitting there waiting for her, and you know how it is when you're waiting for somebody, like, come on, you know, being all impatient and that. And from a distance, he can see her walking. She looks good, too. Sarah always looked good. She sure did. Even though she was an introvert, she's a good-looking woman. She had a big old heart, too. I tell you what, you know how those ladies are? They just got a big old heart, but they're sexy at the same time? Goodness, you've been there. I know you've been there. So she comes walking along, and she sits down across from Michael there, and Michael looks at her and says, you know, Sarah, I really appreciate you coming out here to meet with me. I really, really appreciate that more than you know. He goes, but, you know, sometimes in life we all make decisions that maybe not be the correct one. And she's like, well, what are you saying? He's like, I don't know what I'm saying. He's like, give me your hand. She goes, Michael, what do you mean give me your hand? That's like cheating. You're with Gwen now. Give me your hand. What the hell are you talking about? He's like, please, baby, give me your hand. So she's like, okay. So he takes her hand and he pulls it close to him, and he takes those 2 green leaves that he got off of that tree in his backyard, and he lays them in her hand. She's like, what in the hell are you doing? He's like, Sarah, please just humor me for a couple of minutes, please. She's like, all right. So Sarah's sitting there looking at the leaves in her own hand, and she's kind of looking at him, eyeballing him, you know what I mean? Like, what in the hell is going on? She's looking at her own hand, and the leaves are just as green can be, and she's looking at him, and hell, about 2 minutes go by, nothing happens. Those leaves are green as green can be. You know what that means. Michael knows what that means, but Sarah doesn't have a clue. She's looking at her own hand with those green leaves in her hand. She's looking up. She knows, so Michael, his eyes start turning red. I mean like blood red, like bloodshot red. She's looking at those leaves again. She looks over, tears just running down his eyes. He's starting to get all shook up. She's like, Michael, are you okay? And he's having a hard time even talking, because he's all shook up, because he knows what that means. Yeah, he sure does. Those leaves did not turn brown. Not in Sarah's hand. They sure didn't. You know something Michael's feeling pretty small about right now? Because Michael made the wrong decision. He sure did. Michael's feeling about as small as a mole on an ant leg. Do you know how small that is? Oh, that's damn small. That's like microscopic small. And how is it that he's going to break to Sarah that he made the wrong decision? And what made him see the light? What made him snap out of it and know for a fact who is the right one for him? Yeah, the leaves. That's right. Because those leaves as they stayed in her hand, were as green could be. And those leaves, they didn't turn brown. And why would that be? Because she really, really loved him. And he knew it. I'm Montagraph, and if you can't speak freely, you're simply not free. Have a good day.